Oh, we are recording. Jesus, fuck, was that a long journey?
We had a little bit of technical difficulty.
Yeah, I had to change out so many chords. Cheers, man.
You're right on, right on.
Thank you so much.
I'm glad you figured it out because I don't know diddly squat about electronics.
Neither do I. I just know if I keep replacing things, eventually things sound better.
Yeah.
So, we have Aaron now. Are you going by DeYarman or DeLeroy?
DeLeroy.
DeLeroy.
Is going to be my stage name. My real name, my given name is Aaron DeYarman. And my stage name for my project is Aaron DeLeroy. And the project is Graveyard Pete and the New Appalachian Sound. Or one of the projects that I'm currently in the early stages of anyway.
So, yeah, you hold on. Let me take a sip of this fine rye you brought in for me. Thank you.
Woodford Reserve. So,
Whew. What would be the first time I had liquor on the podcast? I think you can... Yeah, Ron J and I got pretty liquored up. So did Jenna and I. Jenna Webb, she came in for a podcast, and, well, we just didn't release that one. Again, Aaron, you are a local musician. I've only met you recently. I was running open mic at Gabby's.
yes.
And I met the man with the stash. So tentatively, I don't know much about you besides what I see on Facebook. Obviously you're a businessman, you're a realtor,
Yeah.
a family guy, and you also do these music projects like the one you just said.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to kind of let you take the floor here and just let us know who Aaron is and what your goals are with music. Are you wanting this to be a hobby? Is this something you're striving to something bigger for? Or stage is yours.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a hobby for a long time, and it's I kind of look at my music like a carpenter would look at their work. It starts as a hobby, but eventually you make cabinets nice enough to sell to people, and that's sort of how I look at it like from a craftsman perspective. So yeah, I'd love to take my hobby and sort of introduce it to the larger market and see if I can't get any interest in it.
Yeah, and how are you doing that?
How am I doing that, or how am I doing with that?
My question was more of how are you striving to do that? Like, I see you're out in the open mic circuit quite a bit.
Yeah, doing the open mics. I'm trying to get a footprint on Facebook, which got my largest footprint is on Facebook. So I'm trying to draw attention. I have a lot of connections both here in town and of course in Eastern Ohio and other places of the country too. And they're all kind of paying attention. So I guess I'm just trying to reach out to my friends first. My local circle of people.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to meet new people and grow that circle by going to open mic nights and various ones like, Leighton Blanks. He's got the open mic over at the Crafty Pint.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's a good one.
And actually right down the street here, Flip Flops, he runs that one on Tuesdays. Oh, or is that one, I think that one got canceled.
Yep.
Forgot about that. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Leighton.
Then we got the R&R bar on Monday. I'm hitting that one a lot too.
With Greg. Doesn't Greg swap that with...
Yes. Yes, currently, yes.
What's the guys that I know him as with
Melvin Mitchell.
Yeah, I was about to say I know him by Mitch. I know him by Melvin. I know him by a few different names. So, I've never been to R&R bar, but I grew up in Hilliard, so I'm just very familiar with that area.
Yeah.
And I've been wanting to make it out there, but getting off work at 6, working hot in the sun all day, it's hard to go there all in my concrete up shirt, looking like a hot mess. So I don't know what to do about that, but maybe I can take a day off and go out there. But so, like, as I said, I've only met you recently. Is that just by chance, or have you been around for a while and I just haven't caught it, or are you just now starting to make this?
A little bit of both. I guess I've been working on this project for some time. I guess I really started digging into my instrument about 6-7 years ago. Really started getting into writing about 3 to 5 years ago. Mostly an interest, and then about 3.5-4 years ago, I started just started writing a lot. I just started sitting down and just building a lot of ideas.
Yeah, I've always compared it to an Americana sound.
Americana, yeah, country roots, like a rockabilly Americana. It's all right. It's
rockabilly. I bet you and Melvin really connect on that one, huh?
Yeah. Well, we're kind of from the same area too.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a very, very talented dude. Whenever he gets on stage, I always feel like, man, I'm such a chump, with all the stuff that I play, because I admire people that can go up there and like jam with a band.
Yeah.
I'm not a jammer,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
a
I
solo
hear
guy.
you. I feel that way every time I get on stage, man. You go to there's just so many great open mics, and there's such a ton of talent in Columbus. It's like, and then you get up there, and it's like I'm not that good because there's just an unbelievable amount of talent that's out there.
Well, and I think that's a fair way to approach it. A very humble way, to keep yourself in check. I think Rick Barr and I talked about that on the podcast with him. Him and I are kind of cut from the same cloth in the sense of we never let ourselves get too much into our own heads in a positive way. Like every time we set up for a show, and the time we set up to the time we play is like the most nerve-wracking, sweaty palms, this nervous feeling. Like it's like we're performing for the first time on stage.
How do you prepare for that?
Like prepare for
Just to get on stage, like the hours before. It's like,
well, the hours before are easy. Like the build-up is easy, but like that moment of time when I'm about to perform, because I am naturally an introvert, and I play an extrovert when I'm on stage.
Yeah.
And so in that amount of time, I kind of feel naked, and like I'm supposed to go schmooze the crowd, and I can't, like I'm so bad at it. I'm learning to do better, but honestly, it's not until I get behind that microphone, when I get behind that microphone, that it all melts away, So like, do you have same kind of type of issues, or are you more confident in the way you approach your shows?
Well, I'm more confident in the way that I approach my shows. I do believe, because I try to get inside my own head, so I direct the nerves, and I try to put them into just sort of a controlled energy. I keep covering them up, just cover them up, and then just dig deeper inside my own head, and just keep digging and thinking, and psych myself out. Kind of draw back on old high school sports, and it's like, how do you get yourself really psyched to go out there and do it. But I don't know that it produces any better of a show. So, but
Well, I
it's,
mean, I'm sure
but,
it does with your energy.
when you're feeling it though, because sometimes you get on stage and it's it's like when you're just letting it all pour out. It's
Yeah,
like you just hope that.
And a prime example, like the last time I had technical difficulties, which also involved you, I was trying to go live at my open mic I do on Sundays, and you put on this show. You were looking at the camera. You was doing your thing. I'm like, God, this is perfect. And of course, the Wi-Fi was slow, and like it came across as robotic, like very slow. That's how it produced out, And I was like, I hated to delete it, but the whole show came across as shit. Not because of the musicians, because of my end, the technical end of it. But I do really enjoy that energy that you put out. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's somebody who can get a crowd going, and. For me, like I'm a slow burn. I kind of start off with stuff that people recognize, and then at the end of the show, I got all the energy. So I'm kind of, I don't know. I've never seen a full show from you. I don't know what your longevity, if you're like that all the way, from beginning to end. I assume that you are just the type of person you come across to me as.
The longest show I've had to date has been 2 hours. And I was able to maintain that energy all the way through 2 hours. And I've only had one of those shows too, so it wasn't interesting. It was a trial and error kind of thing.
Was that at the El Dorados?
Yeah, El Dorados. And what a great place that is too.
Oh yeah, I've been going to El Dorados for many years, like 10 years, something like this.
They love original music.
Yeah.
I mean, they love it. And they get, and because of that, they just get great draws. Like every time I go there, it's like, it's just, a great crowd.
So your 2-hour show is all originals?
Mm-hmm, every bit of it.
That's awesome, man.
Just added a one that I wrote with Michael Ulrey, who plays guitar with me. He's my friend. And I mean, he's just an incredible guitar player. And he wrote one a while back, and I put lyrics to it. So that's one, and then I got one or two more that I've co-wrote with some other people. Kenny Nally's another co-writer in town, and we've got about maybe 2 or 3. I'm thinking, maybe 4.
So you work well writing with other people?
So sometimes, yeah, sometimes. So far, the people that I've wrote with, yeah.
Well, that's something I also wish I could do.
I'm looking at working on a 3-hour show with all originals, and I'm thinking they're right now. I have planned to have 3 covers in it, 1 per set, and I'm at a loss to what covers I should do. It's like I like so many of them, and it's It's like I just have to rotate some out, so I have to print some out, maybe get maybe three to seven. I think would probably be pretty good, a good mix with what I'm doing.
Yeah, maybe like choose inspirational musicians that like, well, you know what, this song, I heard this song from this performer,
Yeah.
and it made me, it inspired me to write this other song. So here's the original from him, and here's the one I wrote because of it.
Yeah.
Because I have songs like that, where one of my songs, it's actually called Untitled. That's the name of it, is Untitled, because I couldn't think of a name, and everyone kept trying to come up with a name for it, and I got tired of it. So I said, no, it's just Untitled now. That's the name of the song. I got inspired by a Chris Cornell song, kind of a side B sort of song. I don't even remember the name of it. It's on one of my favorite movies, Man of Steel. And when I heard it, like, I just loved the tone of it, and ended up writing the Untitled song because I was inspired by that one song, and they don't sound, I didn't steal anything from it, but my point is, maybe that's something that you could tie in if there are songs like that.
Oh yeah, Grasshoppers like that, and it's funny what it produces too.
Grasshoppers?
Yeah, Grasshopper. One of my tunes, Grasshopper.
Oh, okay.
And it's like that song is. I mean, it's got a Zeppelin influence, but it's like no one picks that out, which is strange to me. And it's like it was a Barnyard Stomp. And that song is just, it's an awesome tune. It's fun. He's singing about his dog, and it's like, man, I tried to learn that song. We were going to do it. Me and Mike were going to do it. So I just learned the lyrics and just learned it. And I listened to it for a week, 2 weeks straight. And like nothing but that song. So I listened to. And then we went and we played it out, and it was terrible.
Oh, I hate it when that happens.
I was like, so I just kind of dropped it and let it go. And then very shortly after that, Grasshopper came, and it's a linear song like that, right? There's not, it doesn't really repeat itself as much. I mean, it kind of does continually repeat itself, but the both verses are very different than each other. So it's just a straight line songs. So each verse is a new story. I'm sorry, each chorus is a new story, and also the verses are a new story. So it's like 5 or 6 stories, and it's a folk song, and it was inspired by a Zeppelin tune.
See, there you go. So there's one prime example. Yeah. Except he said it sounded terrible, so is that one you won't play out then, or what? Well,
not the Zeppelin version, no, but I definitely play Grasshopper.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Grasshopper sounds cool, and it gets a lot of cool response. I didn't expect people to like it, and they did like it, and it makes me smile, and music does that, and art does, really. It affects you in a certain way. It's like you're not ripping it off. It's just you're being influenced by it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get something that's completely different, but totally influenced by it. And that's just a part of the.
That's part of everything.
Part of the thread, right?
That's part of everything's inspired from something else.
Yes, all things have been given to us. All things, everything's been given. It's our job to give it back.
So when you are writing a song, what is your process with this? I know everyone has their own unique version of sitting down and writing. Like some will sit down and write a song and spit it out in an hour. Some will take time. Some people like myself will write bits and pieces, put them in a Frankenstein bin, and then over the course of a year, pull bits and pieces out and sew them into a song. So what is your process with this?
All three.
Oh, fair enough.
I mean, all three. Lucid Dreaming is a song that I wrote in about 20 minutes. And it's an open G, and I love the tune. I wrote the entire song almost as fast as I learned to play it. I found something that was working, and lyrics immediately fell out. And it's not a whole lot of lyrics there, right? There's not much. And the next day, what I did was write the first verse and then the second verse. There's no chorus. There's no bridge. I wrote the first verse and the second verse, and the second verse was the same as the first verse. So it was almost, I just repeated it. And then I went to bed, got up the next day, and I changed, and I just, took about 10, 15 minutes and wrote the second verse out. So, roughly 40 minutes, the entirety for, the song, lead, middle, end, all that stuff. And then you got songs like Gone, where I was struggling to write 2 songs, and I'm going back and forth between the 2 of them, and I'm writing other stuff, and I'm working on stuff, and it wasn't on the shelf, I had 2 songs, and they were both in the same key, but I wasn't aware of that at the time, and they both kind of had the same attitude, and I wasn't aware of that at the time, and I'm going back and forth, and all of a sudden I went, that's the same song. So I took all the bad out of it, and I took all the good out of it, and I mixed it all up, and I put it in double drop D, and voila, I had one. And then I got a song that's been sitting on the shelf as long as I've been writing it. It's been 3 years. It's like, and then bits and pieces and all that stuff,
It's funny you brought that up about having 2 songs that were similar.
Yeah.
And you kind of mixed them together. I had a situation the same. One of my originals called The Times. It was one of my first originals that people connected to. That, you know, like I would sit there and I'd perform it, and over time, people like even my friends would get behind me and sing the chorus for me. You know, it's one of those songs that just really impacted people. One of my first times that ever happened. But the story of that song being written was I had these two songs, and they were same chord progression, but I was like, no, these are two completely different songs. This doesn't make sense, and I'm having trouble, and I'm looking at my buddy. I'll just call him Grim, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what to do with these songs. He looks at me and goes, put them together. I'm like, what? He goes, put the fucking songs together. I looked at him like he had 7 heads. Like, what do you mean put them together? He's like, dude, same chord.
It's the same song.
He's like, just you got the same. Yeah, exactly. You got the same song, just different words. So I put it together and just boom, it came together. The Times, you know, and I'm like, oh my god, thank you, man. You know, like, so I connect with that story a little bit on that end of it. So songwriting is something that I've always found tedious, and I wish I had more passion to sit and write, you know, but it's like throwing up for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just bottle things up, and then, bah, there it comes, you know, and then I'm like, oh, there's a mess, and then we clean that up, and oh, here's your next song, you know. Do you ever feel like some songs come out like that with you? Like sometimes you just sit down and all of a sudden emotions, or do you always have like a certain focus that you want to go in on when you go writing?
That's a really good question. I think music is emotion. So I mean, it's hard to remove the emotion from music. In fact,
Fair.
it's impossible. So it's you're going to have emotion that moves you. As far as that's a really good question. I don't have a good answer for it either. Other than that, I mean, music is definitely emotional. There are times where I take a situation and I make a lot of sense of it, and then once I understand it, then I write it down. It is. I think it's rare that I write immediately because of an emotion. Like I don't write angry, you know, and I don't necessarily write sad. I write as it comes to me, and it's usually after something that had happened is what triggers it. Really, it's like, you know, something's going on, something happens in life, and it triggers, you know, emotions that you don't yet understand, and then later on it could sort of manifest itself in song. That being said, that what triggers that could be a range of different emotions. It could be happiness. It could be, you know, grief. It could be, you know, it could be anything really. Joy. It could be lost love. It could be good, bad, positive, negative. It could be all those things that actually trigger that.
Like concern. Yeah.
A concern, but I mean, but also just it's not you don't write just about the things that go wrong. You write about the things that go right too. You write about, you know, all the things that incorporate yourself, and that's how I write anyway. I look at it, all the things that incorporate me, and that includes all the things that influence me, whether they be good or bad, or you know, or indifferent.
When it comes to songwriting, again, like I said, it's like a throwing up process for me. Like I just puke it out, but that doesn't mean it's a negative thing. I know that has a negative connotation to it. You know, saying it like that, like
it sounds a bit painful.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is, but again, like sitting down with a focus. I want to write a song about this. I for some reason can't seem to do that. As a matter of fact, sometimes I will sit there and play music and just make up words as I go along, and I write them down, and then when I look down at the sheet, I wrote a story that I didn't even know I was trying to tell. And I'm like, okay, I know exactly where this is coming from, and then I can continue, you know, and clean it up a little bit, you know, but getting those emotions out that way, like forcefully in a songwriting atmosphere, is something that I've always had trouble doing.
No, I think you're right, actually. I understand your question a little bit more. I think that's where art actually comes from. So it's like, no, I don't ever sit down and go, I'm gonna write a love story. I'm gonna write a story about murder. I'm gonna write a story about this. I don't ever actually do that. The emotion comes first, and then from the emotion is what triggers the song.
Yeah.
It's so yeah. I mean, I think it would be topical writing to be able to say, hey, I'm going to write a story about this, or I'm going to write a song about this, and you sit around and you write about a topic. I don't think that I'm a topical writer exactly.
Okay.
So, and I'm a lot. I probably write a lot more like you do. Honestly, I mean, it's because, you get an idea, okay, and it's like you don't know necessarily what comes first. Usually, the music comes first for me. Usually,
same
music,
here.
and it's like, but it's not long before the words come.
Right.
If the music is there, then the words are going to come shortly after, and then it's like you don't. And sometimes they're not words at all. Sometimes they're just sounds. Sometimes they're just syllables, or
Yep.
and it's you're counting. Just noises, and it's like, and then you get the feeling, you catch it, you catch that wave, so to speak, or
Yeah, that's exactly what I just described.
and,
Yeah.
and then you get just one line, you're like, oh, I know what this is going to be about, and then you try to figure out where it goes from there. Yes,
Isn't that such a cool feeling though? Like when you get that out and you're like, oh, that's what I'm trying to say. It's almost a fourth dimensional experience, Like this body of yours wrote these words down that are coming out, and then you look at it and then make sense of it, and you're like, okay, now I get where I'm going. It's such a weird thing.
I call it fishing. I call it fishing in the idea cloud river.
That's a
Just reaching up there, and it's a stocked river, man.
that's a Bob Ross painting way to put that. Yeah. Now I don't know. I've never been to these songwriter associations. I've seen the product of them, and it's a great tool. But I've never been. One thing that turned, maybe I was at one. I can't remember where this came into my head, but either somebody told me or I did go to one, and they're like, okay, well, we're gonna write a song about cell phones. All right, that's your homework. Go write a song about cell phones and come back, And then I saw this one guy play the song about cell phones, and like it was a very good song. It was very talented the way he produced it. It sounded good to the ear, but for me, I just could not grab onto that concept. I'm like, I don't want to write about fucking cell phones, man. And thank God I had that experience. Oddly enough, I don't know if I actually went to the class or not, but I just remember that experience with, the Songwriter Association. Years later, I was asked to run or not run, but be the head of the Songwriter Association. And I was like, what? No. I was like, absolutely not. I said, no insult to you, but I am not the right guy for the job. I appreciate that you see my songwriting as a positive thing, but I don't write the same way you do. Mine's more exhausting. You guys are just spitting stuff out that is amazing, and I'm just, as I said, just puking these songs up. Like, it's such a weird thing. And have you ever been a part of those songwriter associations?
Actually, yeah, the Columbus Songwriters Association is one, but the one that I had the most camaraderie with is the Fertilizers, and that's Rob McAbee. I mean, he's ultra talented too. He can do a lot of different things. But that's funny because you reminded me of a project that we had, and this was during when COVID first hit. And it's like we were probably, I don't know, maybe a month or so. We were doing a Zoom meeting, and we had one of those projects, and the project was write a song like You're the Last Person on Earth, and that was fun, and I did write that.
Well, to be honest with you, I could probably write that one too. That one's so psychologically driven.
Yeah, right. And they had all this. I mean, we had some serious shit going on at the time,
Right.
So it wasn't hard to find the motion.
Right.
So, but yeah, so that's maybe cherry picking your assignments, but
yeah, exactly. But if you look at me and say, write a song about this pencil, it's like being at an interview when I was 18 years old trying to get a sales job.
I want to fucking write a song about a pencil. Fuck
guy
that
says,
pencil.
Hey, sell me this rubber band. And I looked at him and I go, do you want to buy this rubber band? He goes, no. I'm like, okay, well then this is not the job for me because I don't know how to sell shit. It's mirrored in that sort of way for me. But yeah, for me, songwriting is just it just comes. I have no idea if I'll ever write a song again. I could spit out 3 in the next month. I have no clue. It's I wish I was more consistent with it, you know, because I'm proud of my music. I'm proud of what I do, and just like anybody is, you know. Thank you. But I cannot lean on it, you know. So I stick to the entertainer route in lieu of the artist route, you know. And then maybe one day I'll be brave enough to record my shit and put it out there. But as of right now, none of my
See, I would like to see more people do that. It's like, you know, there's actually a lot of songwriters, and everyone's under sort of the misconception that Columbus is a cover town. And it's like, well, you know, the artists decide that, really.
Yeah.
And it's like, but here recently, I've been seeing some more, you know, some more guys at open mics and singing their own tunes, and I love it. I totally love it, and it's really a good time for it too. It's the best time for it. It's like, keep having this discussion. It's like, not to derail you.
Oh no.
But we have, you know, our generation. All right, it's kind of the generation that bridged the gap between the Industrial Revolution and the Information Age. All right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people who still think the old way. 3 channels, you got to do covers. It's like, but the reality is nobody listens to the same thing. Nobody even listens to the same resource. So you got a million different resources out there. It's like a million different music stations. And what's even worse is you dial it into just what you like. So you never hear anything else.
Yeah.
So all you have to, so if you write a song and you sing it like it's a hit, like it's yours, emotion, like you know, if it's genuine, it'll sound familiar, because anything that's genuine will sound familiar. So if it's honest, people will attract to it, and they'll like it. And it's like, and they won't even know, because they're so used to listening to what's in just their bubble, that now they've heard something a little bit different and they like it. And that's what I'm seeing when I go out, and it's cool too. And I go to so many different open mics, man. There's just so many different. Everyone does all these great songs, some originals, a lot of covers, and most of the covers I don't even know. It's like I don't even know.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's like you got, you know, this open mic has got a bunch of James Taylor fans, you know, and this open mic's got a bunch of, you know, AC/DC fans, and this open mic's got a bunch of like metal fans, and it's like everyone just lives inside of their own bubble. So, you know, but when you expose them to something that's honest and familiar, it's like they don't know what they're listening to.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, in that sort of light, when I do open mic, or when I run an open mic, I always make it very clear that we are a songwriter friendly open mic, and I always get my originals in, you know, just to put it out there, you know, like whatever you're playing, and if you write a song, play it. You know, we're a friendly crowd. We'll support you. You know. A lot of people get intimidated to do that.
It's hard to sing about yourself. Very difficult. It's hard enough to get on stage in front of people and expose yourself like that, but then to really let them in and say, "I wrote a song," and you listen to the lyrics, it's like I'm getting a piece of you, and it's hard to give that up. But you know what? It's more emotional and it's better.
And it's really good to see people let go, and you see that shell break and fall to the ground.
Yep.
One of my, I'd have to say, comparable experiences with that is Durwood.
I love Durwood.
Right. I love Durwood.
Good.
I remember when this goofy little kid came into my open mic. It was actually open mic Ron J and I were hosting at Barrel Bar. I ran an open mic there. It was originally Terry Douglas and I. And then Terry Douglas said he was done running open mics. And I ran it for a while by myself and brought Ron J in. Durwood showed up. And he was very Durwoodish. I'd never been exposed to him before. I hadn't heard him perform yet. And his connection for his eye thing was not compatible with my board. Meaning I couldn't play his music. So he went through Ron J's music that Ron J just has for his saxophone backup, his backup music for his saxophone, and just found something that might work, and sat there on the cuff and played Durwood's version of things with a backing track that he had never played to before. And he got up there and I'm like, what is this? What is going on right now? You know, like I was like, you know, he couldn't do his Mountain Dew hit. He couldn't do, you know, his working at a pizza shop hit. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do anything. He's just saying these random words with this random music going on. So my first impression of Durwood was like, what is this kid's deal? And this was probably about 4 years ago. And then he kept coming back. And I'll tell you what, learning who Durwood is over time is what made me really just appreciate what he does more. Yes, once he actually came in with the appropriate equipment, all this stuff, his songs were more fun and catchy. Okay, this kid's doing parodies. All right, we'll just let that roll. It's funny. But I'll tell you what, he was always the first one to show up and always the last one to leave, helping me break down and just sit there and talk to him. And this is the beauty of open mics, when you learn not just the people who are behind the mic, but on the other side of it. And you're sitting there, you're closing up, and you're just having the chats with people, and you get to learn somebody on a deeper level. And I remember one day when it clicked with me. I looked at Durwood. I go, you know what? I didn't peg you right, man. I didn't peg you for the right way. I thought you were this, and you're just not that, And that's something that I've had happen a lot of times at open mics, because when people put themselves out there, they're almost not themselves in a way. And then you meet the person behind the music, and it's almost sometimes a completely different person. That's what I love about open mics. That's what I love about people putting themselves out there, especially being brave enough to do what Durwood does, and just go full off the cuff.
He sells out when he's on stage, and that Mountain Dew song is the best.
Yeah,
it is genuinely funny. He is really funny,
and he sings it just as passionately every time he sings it.
I remember liking him right away. And then when he performed, I was like, absolutely, this dude is awesome.
I just found him on the freeway the other day.
And I saw.
Yeah, I was driving home from work. It was a long, hard day. I was exhausted, right? And I'm driving home, and I look over just out of the corner of my eye, passing in my peripheral on the other side of 70. I saw what looked like to be Durwood standing around looking confused. And I'm like, is that Durwood? So I called him up. He goes, hello? And I'm like, hey, what are you doing? He goes, well, actually, I'm on the side of 70 right now. And I'm like, never mind. Click. I'm on my way. Click. And then spun around, and he had busted his tire. He was on the wrong side of the road. So the police officer showed up. We had to stop traffic on 70 so he can get to the right side of the road, because he couldn't change his tire on this side. He didn't have enough room. So we had to stop traffic on 70, get him over there, and we helped him change his tire and everything. But it's one of those rare moments where it's just right time, right place, But anyway, it's neither here nor there. Point is, Durwood, I love you. So I hope you hear this and know that. But when it comes to you said something earlier, and I wanted to ask you about it, and I can't quite remember what it was now, because I went on that Durwood trail. Right, the drink's doing me pretty good, man.
Right.
Thank you. Maybe we can change tunes here. I think we talked about the songwriting process, and what made you start going out to open mics first? What was your first experience on stage, if you can remember?
Oh yeah, I remember the early ones. Yeah, what made me start going out was the question.
And when was this?
This was let's see, 2019. It had to be 2019. 2019. My friends made me start going out. We did pickers nights. I haven't done one in some time. Pickers nights were just a group of friends. Kenny Nally. It was me and Kenny Nally. Kenny Nally and I started just happenstance friendship. And he's just an absolute amazing player. He's one of the best players that I've ever met. He's super incredible. He's a talented songwriter, and he's just an amazing player. Great voice too. And we just we're just sort of in limbo, the both of us, and we just started playing guitar. This was after my oldest daughter. She had an illness in her lungs that once we got through, I was like, it changed the way that I was I was looking at my life. I decided I was going to stop doing the things that were killing me and focus my attention on the things that were going to be good for me. Music was one of those things, and that's when I met up with Kenny, and him and I just started playing, and then we wound up writing a song or two together. And became just great friends, and because of that relationship, we developed these picker nights, and these picker nights were just all of our friends would come over, and we would have a different crowd every time, and each time there was a different vibe to it. And it was, we could have, I don't know, anywhere from 10, 15 people there, everyone would bring some food. It was a potluck, and homemade food, and homemade
where was
music,
this?
and in Galloway. This is in Galloway, and this is in 2019, 2018, 2019 when this all started.
I think this is at an establishment?
This is at our house.
Oh, okay. I've been to an establishment that did the same exact thing right near Galloway.
That is so cool. No, we didn't have an establishment, but that's what we did. And we went from home to home.
Okay.
I would host them, and then Kenny would host them.
So you guys had your own little open jam that you created yourselves?
Yes, yeah. And there were and many other people, and it's like, I'm just drawing a blank on names, but Casey was another one. Casey came to a lot of them. Alan, now he's not with us anymore, and he was a spectator mostly, but he also played some, and he came out, and we just played, and we just loved it, and we talked about playing out and whatnot, and then I started writing songs, and people were my friends, they were responsive to them. And that's really good. That's really good. It's your friends though, you don't really know what the. And then it just then I met a guy by the name of Pete Dubai, and Pete is he's a pretty amazing guy himself, and he's super talented. And he can play anything. He can play bass, he can play drums, he can play guitar, he can play like Irish flutes, he can play mandolin.
Make you sick?
No, I loved him. He was so good. And he could just play all these things, and it's like, and he was really the first person that told me that your songs deserve to be heard.
Yeah.
So we actually went out to, we started going out to open mics, and really the first open mic that we went to was me, him, and then his brother, John DeBuy. So it was Pete and John DeBuy. It was the three of us. We went out, and John was amazing, and he was even better than Pete was. And he's like, everything he picked up, he was just way better. And it's like, and he was playing bass. It's like we were both playing guitar. He's better, both of us. So we went out to an open mic over here on the west side.
Was that Rick Barr's open mic?
No, it was not. No. I don't think so. It was over off Tribute, just passed down from.
That was
the Quarry, I think is what it is.
Was Aaron Snyder running it?
I am not sure. A keyboard.
Player. Brandon Crawford.
Yeah, that's him. It was
Brandon Crawford was running it. Yes, that was at Tribute Tavern.
Yes. Yeah. So we actually went there, and we just stunk. We stunk it up really bad. It got so bad that one of the patrons came up and he just grabbed the mic, and he's like, he was singing. He was going to sing Wagon Wheel for us because we were fucking it all up. It was terrible. And we let him take the mic because he was, intimidating and bigger than us, and he had tattoos on his face. And there's
don't mess with the guy with the tattoos on his face.
It's like nothing against tattoos, man. But if you got them on your face, you are tougher than me for sure. It's like, so we just let him go about his thing, And I went home that night. It was really, really fun because I went home that night, and I'm laying in bed with my wife, and it's like, and then this song was there. I was like, wow! It's like, if you get up and go write it down, you're gonna lose it. So I just closed my eyes and I just imagined it over and over and over and over and over again, until I memorized it. And then I got up and I had like 3/4 of it written, maybe. And I got up and I wrote it all down, and I called Pete. I was like, "Hey, Pete, man, I got something you got to hear." He's like, "All right, come on over." So I went over, and he has a studio in his basement. It was gorgeous, it really was. And I played what I had for him. He's like, "That's genius," and immediately I like Pete more. Because he told, and we kind of, he threw. I think he wrote the chorus actually. I think he wrote the chorus, and man, we kind of finished out the rest of it together. And it's like he got half the song now, but it was fun. That's I remember my first time going out, definitely.
Yeah, I've actually hosted that for Brandon a few times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Brandon and I, we have a fun history, but anyway, that's a fun first time on stage story.
Yeah.
I'm glad I asked.
Road to Boulder is the name of the song, man. I actually wrote a song about it. So, yeah, it was.
Is there some place we can find your music right now? Like, if I wanted to look it up right now, could we look it up?
I have 3 poorly recorded songs on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
I have 3, and it's like, so no, I don't really have anything recorded, and I don't really have anything.
What's the name of that channel?
Well, it'd be Aaron D. Armin.
Okay.
Just Aaron D. Armin is all there is.
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel for what was my Stevie Cade music.
Mm-hmm.
I have no videos on it. Won't post anything on there. Now I do have another YouTube channel called just Stevie Cade,
Mm-hmm.
where I have a mixed bag of shit. I have some live recordings of music. I have videos I edited for my niece. I have Lego videos I did with my son. Like, it's just a random mixed bag of stuff. I don't know. When it comes to putting out music, I always get, I don't want to say intimidated, but I just don't feel like it's where I need music to be. Do you ever feel that way, or are you excited to get your music out?
I'm becoming excited to get my music out. But I would like it all to be better. I think it all could be better. And there's 1 or 2 that I have that I think that are pretty solid, but they're still incomplete as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch that I'm super happy with, and then there's some that aren't ready yet. And they could all use improvement. And it's funny how you write over time. So, say you write a song and you love it, and then you play it, and you got so much excitement and energy that comes with it that all your friends like it. And then you take it out and you play for people that you don't know, and they go, man, that moved me. And it's like, that's awesome. And so you keep doing that, and then all of a sudden, a year later, you change it a little bit because it fits you now, and it makes it even better. It doesn't.
Yeah, I once had a song like this. Where I wrote it in a certain light, and years later I wanted to change what the meat and potatoes of the song was. I wanted to change what it was essentially about, but I wanted to keep the melody and kind of keep the same essence of it, but I wanted to change, the emotion that I was feeling when I wrote that song. I wanted to change that part of it. Yeah. And I felt like at a crossroads, like, am I allowed to do that? Like, I had no clue. and I put it out on Facebook. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I have this song. I wrote it. People know it, but I want to change it. And I had a person that I respect very well in music. He's actually the one that really got me out into the world of music, like in 2007. And his name is Tom Klein. And he said, Steve, this is your artwork. You can do whatever you want with it. Just because you already put it out there one way doesn't mean you can't change it, And I've always taken that. Oh, which one is that one? That's Frankie. That's my cat, Frankie.
Oh, Frankie.
Yeah, he's a shed cat. Found him in the backyard under the shed. Or my dog did. My dog I used to have. Actually, both cats here are shed cats. Found by my previous pet.
Those are the best ones.
But anyhow, I actually never ended up changing the song. I just kept it where it was because I wanted to change it for the wrong reasons. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go into depth about that, but I was wanting to change it for the wrong reasons. So I kept the song how it is. But going back to that one song, The Times, that I was known for a while, and even got me on QFM 96, for the Torrigan Elliott show. And that song I will change often. Not the words, just the way I play it. Sometimes it's upbeat, sometimes I just finger pick the whole thing and just do a whole different ambient sound to it. And that's something I like flirting with all my songs across the board. Songs that people recognize. I know that I see you tapping your toes when I play the song. Well, I want to play it a different way for you. And I think that's a very healthy thing to do. And is that something that you said you were thinking about changing that one song, or it has changed? Is that kind of in the same light, or am I just on a different trail here?
Well, they change meaning. So it can change a great deal, but it can change only internally.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. What I found is that there are a few songs that I've been singing for more than a year. So as the songs sort of develop and I grow, I learned that maybe what I wrote originally, the lyric, and what I thought that it meant, might mean something differently now. So when I play that way, when I have to internalize playing that way, it's like I'm actually singing something that has a different meaning, but with the exact same lyrics. And so that's kind of how it changes. To date, I have not taken a song physically and completely changed it outside of goofing at the house.
Yeah.
You know, I'll take a song and play several different ways. But how it changes is it changes. Songs for me will change meaning over time. So a specific lyric is how things change for me. And it's interesting because when I write, I often write with multiple meaning, double, triple meaning. So you may write one sentence, but it means two or three different things. So how you interpret that now could be something that you interpret very differently, you know, time from now, an hour, a year.
It's a very interesting way to go about it. I think maybe sometimes I do that, but unintentionally.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you said something earlier, Lucid Dreams. You have a song called Lucid Dreams.
Lucid dreaming.
Dreaming, yes. Before this is going to connect to my soon, but is that the lucid dreaming? And I may have asked you this before in the past. Is there a meaning behind why it's named that? Like, was there a dream that you wrote about, or are you talking about future prospects that dreams you want to accomplish? Like, what for that song? Why is it titled that?
Because I lucid dream, and typically when I lucid dream, it's about one dream. It's about flying, and what that song is about is I've had a reoccurring dream, but the dream's not exactly the same. The dream is the same, but me is different, and then people in the dream are different. So I add people. So, and it's a dream about flying, and it's a dream about flying over the top of this. The first thing that you have to clear in the dream is a telephone. Or not telephone pole. The first thing you have to clear is a clothesline, and the second thing that you clear is a telephone pole.
Do those things change in the dreams, or is it always?
It's always
clothesline,
it's always clothesline and telephone pole, and but the people change. It used to be just me, and there's other people. My mom's in the dream, but she doesn't.
When you say people, are they with you?
No, oh yeah, they not at first. There's other people in the dream, and they're there in the dream. And my mom is always in the dream, for example. So but I can fly. I can float fly.
Yeah.
And I had those dreams 2 or 3 times throughout my life, and it's early life. So and each time I have it, I'm the age that I am. Okay. And so what happened was, I started having. I had a dream, for example, after I adopted my son, Vincent. And then he was in a dream, and his mother was in a dream, and I got to teach my son how to fly in that dream. And then the next one that I had was after my daughter was born, and I got to teach my daughter how to fly in that dream. So she comes along, so that dream comes, and it's an actual lucid dream, and you get to feel the emotion, and it's like you get the people bring people with you, and it's a float fly. Okay, it's like you're swimming.
Yeah.
Okay, and the last time I had that dream was very recently, and it was right before I wrote the song. It was very different. It was I had my guitar on my back, and I was in the house that my wife and I had first bought, and in that house there was a 3-season Florida room. It was really nice, I had all these screens and a fan and everything, and I was walking through the house with my guitar, and I opened the door to that room. And I went, I'm dreaming. I dropped my guitar and opened doors to the next room, and I leapt up onto the deck handlebar, like the handle, the rail, and I launched myself in the air. And my wife started going, what's wrong? And she woke me up.
Oh.
And I was like, no, what'd you wake me up for? Because I was gasping for air because, I felt like I was flying. Like literally, I felt like I was doing that.
That's very curious.
And then I wrote that dream or I wrote lucid dreaming the next day. I sat up and I just wrote it, and it's like when I fall into my dreams, I can launch myself into the air, it seems, and no one can follow me, but I can bring you with me.
How high do you go? What's the highest you've been? Do you reach a different level of height in different dreams?
Well, I'm assuming that I was going to be like really flying through the universe before my wife woke me up on the last one, but the other ones, I guess I get, I don't know, maybe a couple 100 feet in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay. So I'm gonna put a pin into what I was trying to talk about earlier, because now I'm so glad I brought up this song specifically, because just the name of it intrigued me. But I have dreams like this, where and it's the same thing. I'm over the telephone wires and everything, and I'm over an area that I'm familiar with. But sometimes I go higher. I've been in the clouds. I've been even higher, and I'm very aware that I'm dreaming when this is happening.
Yep.
And there's one time I was up so high, I was in the clouds with all these other people that were dreaming the same thing that I was, or not the same thing, but having the same experience in their dream that I was having, and we all knew that you're up here too. All right, cool, have fun, and I think the highest I ever got was like out of the atmosphere, and I just remember falling back to the earth, like not in a scary way, like in a roller coaster exciting way.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was very eerie. Like I was like just above the earth, like wow, I've never been this high before, and I noticed the earth like slowly getting bigger and bigger, but like I didn't feel like I was falling, and then slowly my clothes started ruffling, and the next thing I know, I'm like in full free fall, and I'm like, oh my god, and then like, I started tumbling. I don't remember. I think I woke up during this moment, but it's so funny you brought that up, because I've had experiences like that, and I even put them in one of my songs too. But are you into astral projection? Have you looked into it? Do you know anything about it?
I have never heard about astral projection.
Astral projection is a theory about when people leave their bodies while they're dreaming, and they can float on different levels. And when they do, the higher you go, the more outside of your body you are. And I don't know. Look into it. It sounds like something that, if you're into that sort of thing, but look into it and actually what it is, because it kind of mirrors your experience there, and it's something that I always keep in the back of my mind when I have those types of dreams. But to take that pen out, go back to where I was going. The song "You" one of my originals called "You." I don't know if you remember it, but I wrote that song about a dream.
I remember Unnamed.
Or Untitled?
Untitled, yes. Untitled, yes. I'm sorry.
Well, Untitled was also partly about a dream as well. Because I write for my dreams a lot, but that was the whole point of why I even asked you, because I connect in that way, that I also have written about my dreams or from my dreams or been inspired about my dreams. I think there's just a very powerful thing, and now we've gone onto this rabbit hole of astral projection. But I think that is one of my favorite parts, is when I can write a song. But you comfortable? No. Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were looking for something. I didn't know. Gotcha. It's one of those moments that I can just, when I connect with my dreams, I feel in my safe place. Like if there's this different feeling than all the emotions in the world that I've experienced, than what derives from my dreams, and I write a song about. Does that make sense? Is that kind of your experience with lucid dreaming?
Yeah, maybe not. I don't write about my dreams a lot. If ever, I think lucid dreaming is the only one that I've ever read about my dreams.
Right, but with that, is there a different feeling that comes from that dream specifically, or that song specifically, that feels a little different than the other songs you write? Like that,
I am fond of that tune, and I'm also aware that it's not that well received. So yes, I would say there is probably a little bit of a different feeling for me, because it's very personal. Because it's about I mean, that dream is literally about, has turned into, I mean, not only growth for myself, but it's, bringing my children along with me. When you look at the details of the song, it's like, who's always there? My mom's always there. And then my wife was always there. But my children get to come with me on the flight. It's sort of it means, it does definitely has a different feel than probably any of my other songs. And I have one or two or three of those, where the muse is just so important. The muse is more important than the music itself.
Yeah, I think the muse is definitely the biggest key in my songwriting process for sure.
Yes.
I think that's why I can't sit down and just write a song. I can't just sit down and just be like, I'm going to write this song about this telephone. That's not a muse to me. And
it's not genuine.
No,
it's just not genuine, and I think that's what music has to be. It has to be genuine.
So, do you have any plans on recording your stuff anytime soon?
I would like to. I would like
studio recording.
I really want to get into the studio. I would love to get into the studio, but I just don't have the the financial.
It's 2021.
I know. I don't have the money though. I'm going to have the money. I'm saving my money.
But you're talking about like the high end studio. You want to
I want a real studio.
You want to make this quality.
Yep. I want to talk to a producer, and I would like, because when you're thinking about taking something and selling it to the large amount, I don't care what the product is. I don't care if you're buying a restaurant chain. Everything that you're selling, you want it to be the best. If you sell burgers, you want it to be better than every other burger joint in town.
Yeah.
Or at least as good, because that's how you get noticed, and then that's how you get business, and when you and that's really sort of what I want. So
that's your long term goal.
That's my long term music. To have it done perfect. To take it outside of my hands. I am so limited to what I can do. And it's like I need people around me that are better than me in every other area in order to make something like this work. And it's like a craft. So I'm building cabinets, and I want these cabinets to be really, really good before I bring them out to the market. And in order to do that, I'm going to need to find the best wood supplier. I'm going to have to find the best stain. I'm going to have to find the best tools, and if I can gather all those things together and I can put them out there, I believe that I have a product that can supersede myself. I believe that I can build something that's larger than myself. I can build something that transcends just me, but I can't do it by myself because I can't transcend myself. I need help from others to do that. So when I find all those pieces, I absolutely want to be able to put the best product that I possibly can out there.
That's something, again, like I admire people like that. I wish I had that sort of drive with my music, but I don't. It's such an oddity. It's so weird. Like I've been offered 2 times for someone to pay for me to make an album.
That's awesome.
I've made it into a studio 1 time, played 2 songs, and said, none of my business.
That's awesome. I admire that. I really admire that. It's like people's dreams. Like you're like, I don't want to fucking do this.
Well, it's for me, it's a weird thing. Like to be in a studio and like record it over and over again, do the same thing. Well, to do this a little differently, and take that sort of element and change it. I guess when I play more, or not more or less, but like for me, it's it's emotional when I play my originals, and to put that emotions and put it in a technical atmosphere, I just don't feel comfortable with it. And like I've gotten 2 recordings, You and Untitled. I've gotten those recorded and like a bare bones like raw thing, and they're like, okay, well we'll come back next week. We'll figure out the drum tracks. I said, no. I said, you guys do that. I said, you guys figure that shit out. Like I did my part. Like I'm kind of done with it. Like I trust you guys with it now. Like if your goal is to get this out and produce it and make money from it, then you do that, because that's not mine. It's never been my goal. and it's a double-edged sword for me because I want something to put out. If I get hit by a car tomorrow, that my friends can be like, oh my god, at least we have this thing of Stevie K original music that we can listen to. But I don't have that, and it's kind of sucky. And unlike you, I don't mind just recording it off my board onto my laptop and just slapping a sticker on a CD and saying, hey, leave a tip in the jar, take a song or take a CD.
No, I would do that if I knew anything about electronics. I could probably do that, and I'd be very willing to do that. But it's one of these things where it is that recording and electronics and producing is so far outside of what I can do that it's like it would be just a catastrophe if I did it myself.
Do you want to do it now?
It would take so much time because it would be awful. Do I want to do what? Like,
do you want to play a song?
I could play a song.
You brought your guitar.
I did.
You have a mic in front
right
of you.
here.
This
I
is bare bones stuff right here.
I could do lucid dreaming, actually.
Yeah, just keep that mic close to your mouth. It will pick up the guitar on its own. All right.
Let me dig it out here.
All right, actually, I'm going to take a quick pause real quick.
Okay.
They won't notice it, but...
Okay, so we're paused now?
And... Hello, everybody. We took a little break there, a little pause to get Aaron and his guitar ready because he's going to play... is it Lucid Dreaming? Is it
Lucid Dreaming.
Since that seems to be a topic song tonight, I think that's very appropriate. So I'm just going to hand the stage over to you, Aaron. By all means, it's all yours, and yep.
I fall into my dreams. I can launch myself. The air seems no one can follow me, but I can bring you with me. I fall into my dreams. I can fall in your arms, seems. And when you're not here with me, I can bring you to me. Thank you.
Dude, that was great.
Thank you.
You said that one is not very well received.
Not as much as some of the others. I mean, it's there. Yeah.
I can hear me out on this. I can see why, and it's not because it's a bad song. It's one of those songs. It'd be once you hear a band that you love, and then you start diving deep into their stuff, and you're feeling their vibe. You know what they're about. and then you find that like side B track, like, oh my God, this song means the world to me, but like nobody else knows it because it's not mainstream.
Yeah.
That's that song. That's that song. Like when you put out this album that I have full confidence that you're going to put out because you seem very passionate about it. And that's going to be that side B song that somebody's going to connect with, somebody probably like me that would connect with. You know, like, oh my God, dude, this guy, like, I liked him, you know, here, but now he's like up here in my head because he just came out with this song and it's not mainstream. You know, like so like there's a double-edged sword to that it not being received well. It's not received well yet, and I don't think you will ever actually know how well it's going to be received until you put that album out.
If ever, yeah. It's
it's out here now. It's on the podcast.
Yeah, it's definitely out here. And you know, I uploaded this to Facebook, and there are some people who liked it on Facebook, and I loved it too. I'm always shocked when people like my stuff, right?
Yeah,
totally
always.
shocked. It's and so awesome. You know, it's cool. I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
Well, you know, I've been flirting with an idea for the podcast, which is something YouTubers should do. And since my podcast, as of right now, is mainly on YouTube, is putting out sections of the podcast. You know, like, you know, here's a little part of the podcast you should listen to, and maybe that will bring them over to the rest of the podcast. I might separate this maybe with our little conversation about lucid dreaming, and then bring that song in. Yeah, I dug it, man.
Cool, thank you. I appreciate
it. It was good action. Like you played it so well, so clean. I would have fucked that up if that were me.
I did fuck it up.
See, I wouldn't have noticed.
Every time I get on stage, I generally screw something up. You know?
Welcome to the club, man. Yeah. Dude, that's a first. I've never had anybody play in the studio before.
That's awesome that I got to do that, man. It makes me happy. That's cool.
Well, you questioned it before, and like you brought the guitar, and I'm like, is the space big enough for you? I don't know. You know, like how do I insert, you know, somebody playing music? But like I told you off air, like we did it in a very organic way, where it's like, dude, this is the time. This is when you bust this song out. You know, it was right now. So, and you did. Great, man. Bravo.
I'm glad you liked it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, dude. I want to hear more from you. Like, you seem to have a very clean, honed-in sound to yourself, and that's something to be said, especially from someone that, like, I haven't known for years, you know? Somebody I just met this year, and usually when I hear honed musicians, it's because I've heard them over the years. I've watched them progress. I've watched them grow. But like you're here, you showed up on the map, and now you're just like, yeah. And my stuff's really clean. You know, like even though you see it differently, you know, you see it. Oh, I fucked this song up. I fucked this song up. I can't hear that. That was a very honed in song.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Cheers, sir.
Absolutely. I like this Bud Light Platinum.
Oh yeah, it's my go-to. I don't really like beer. Like after the second one, third one, they're not so bad. But yeah, I'm not a craft beer guy. I honestly, I'll drink, whatever. It all tastes like shit until about the third one in. So that's how I roll.
I do like craft beers, man. I love.
Well, I mean, you have to. You have the mustache that says that.
That's right. You got to drink beer if you have a mustache like this, or a beard, right? Or a big, just a great big
or
beard.
the big beard. Yeah. Well, you have the big beard, but to pull off the almost curly mustache is a whole different realm of the beard, thing that's going around.
Well, but, I kind of have to thank our misfortune for that. It's like this never would have happened if COVID didn't happen. It's like I was hiding in my no shave November for who knows how long, and then eventually you started coming to the side. You know what? I might be able to do this.
So you didn't have this mustache before?
No, this is new. This is pretty new. I remember telling my mom's partner, John, I was gonna grow one. I tried to get him grown with me too, but he's like, nah, he's not gonna do it. But I said, I'm gonna. He's like,
Okay. I was gonna ask you about the stash. So what so like when you started doing it, what did your wife think?
She thought it was pretty funny. Yeah,
she dug it. She's into it?
She kind of dug it and didn't dig it a little bit. But I'm me, and it's like I do have a lot of different looks. I've got long curly hair. I've had a great big beard. I've been clean shaven. I never did the mustache before. but I had time, so I made it happen, and she's all right with it. She kind of digs it. My daughter now, my youngest daughter, she hates it.
Yeah.
So she says, yeah.
I don't know if I'm brave enough to do that. Like sometimes, very far and few between, I'll go clean shaven.
Yeah.
Mainly if I like fuck something up, shaving. Yeah. And when I do, like I'll shave everything down except the mustache. Mm-hmm. I look creepy.
You could go with the great big Fu Manchu. That'd be pretty cool. You got the size for it.
Oh yeah. I don't like the Fu Manchu either. I don't know. Like I used to do the.
You go with the goatee and be evil Stevie.
Well, I've done the strap-on beard with the separate mustache.
Yeah.
The kind of pirate look once in my early 20s.
Yeah.
And now I look back on pictures from that era and I'm like, oh God, why did I do that?
You could totally pull off a mustache. See, the thing about the mustache is, it's like one like this, like the great big handlebar mustache. It goes through some really strange stages, but once you get through the awkward stages, and there's more than one. Oh, there's at least 2 or 3 of those fuckers. But once you get there, it's good. And it's like, you got a great mustache, and it's like, I'm looking at you right now, and like I could definitely see, like,
I think what it is for me, it's when I get rid of anything on my chin, like I instant baby face.
That's a good thing. Then you look younger, right?
Well, wait, no. There's a difference between looking younger and looking like a fucking fat toddler. So there's a difference. This beard hides or attempts to hide, the second chin that kind of pops out every now and again. But that's all my insecurities. That's me trying to get through that shit. But I don't know if I could ever pull off a mustache. Do you ever grease it up?
Oh, you have to. You got to oil it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are times I'll go without it, and then there are times I have to have it. It's like, it really depends. Because if it gets too dry and it sort of gets wiry, then it goes in strange directions. It'll tickle the daylights out of your nose.
Oh, my mustache does it. Like I just trimmed my beard, but like I'll usually go a month and just let it grow, and I'll find these things like travel up my nose, and I'm like, like it's such an awkward.
You can't get it anywhere.
No, and like you get it out, and then the next thing you know, it's just right back up there again. Yeah. So I don't know if I could ever actually have the time, patience, or tolerance to grow out a mustache like that.
And it's weird. It takes some getting used to too, because you want to touch it all the time. You go like, it'll freak people out. I had one guy told me, I want to untalk to you. Stop touching your mustache.
It's funny because I do these live streams. I have another YouTube channel, Film Trigger, where I talk about movies and just geek out that way. And I notice when my beard gets longer that I've noticed rewatching the live streams that I'll sit here and I'll play with it like I'm evil laughing, like
evil Stevie.
Right, but I totally don't notice that I'm doing it, So now I have to keep it trimmed and I am so aware. Like if I put my hand up, I'm just like, oh no, put it down, because it's kind of distracting when you're watching the thing. Why is that kid just rubbing his chin over and over again? But yeah, so that was fun about beards and mustaches. So your children, as I've seen from your post, you have a daughter that's musically talented. Is that
I do.
Is that a thing? Do you mind discussing about that? Or?
The youngest one,
or are they both?
Oh, I have 3 children. And they're all talented.
Really?
Yeah.
All in the same instrument, or do they have their own realms of it?
Well, it's completely their own realms. And Beth is a lot like me. She hasn't found her way yet, but she's definitely stubborn like I am, and she definitely knows what she wants. And as soon as she figured that out, she's going to be doing fantastic. She's not so artistic. My oldest son, my only son, Vincent. And now he's artistic as well, and he actually deals in firearms with what he does. He competes. He has his own design on the pistols and whatnot. He just started his own brand, actually. He's been working on his own brand, Monsoon Tactical.
Really?
Yeah, and it is pretty incredible. He's a pretty incredible guy.
Does he live in the Columbus area?
He lives in Columbus area. He lives in Hilliard.
Does he sell anything at River's Edge Cutlery by chance?
He does not. Not that I'm aware of. No, he is actually with Monsoon Tactical, and Monsoon Tactical is its own brand.
It's its own. And they have their own thing. Okay.
Yep, and they do some Cerakoting and stippling work, and a lot of what he does, outside of competing against national talents in shooting competitions and whatnot is he'll take weapons and he'll contour them, he'll stipple them, he'll paint them, he'll customize them for you. It's one of the things that he does, primarily what he does. And he's got a pretty good footprint. He's a pretty awesome kid. They got Affliction. Have you heard of Affliction? They're a t-shirt company.
Oh, can I find them online?
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely. And Howitzer. And Howitzer are the Chris Kyle people.
Affliction shirts, clothing.
Oh yeah, that's them.
Which one? Shirts or clothing?
It's the same.
I'll just go here.
Yeah.
Is Affliction Clothing Company. Is that it?
That's him. That is them.
And this is your son.
No, that's not my son. He is now affiliated with them.
Oh, okay.
And he is also affiliated with the Howitzer people, which are the Chris Kyle people.
All right.
Now, what Affliction has done is they have designed a shirt for Vinny and his company, Monsoon Tactical.
Can I find Monsoon Tactical?
Nope.
No, okay.
No, I doubt it. I doubt it. But if you look for Monsoon Tactical, you'll find them online. You'll find them online.
Let me see if I can find them. How do you spell that?
Monsoon, Monsoon Tactical.
Did I spell that? Okay.
Tactcal.
Yeah. It's hard for me to not be able to see while I'm writing. There we go. Is this it?
Probably the Instagram. I'm not sure what the first one is within parentheses, but yep, that's him.
Oh yeah, same last name. All right.
Yep.
All right, let's check this out.
And that is Vinny, and he is all kinds of awesome and just a big sweetheart. He is a big sweetheart.
Wow. So like when you say he custom,
like that's all his work. You buy a stock weapon and he will make it personal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I get it now.
And he also competes, and he competes against national talent. And he is better in some areas than some of the national talent. He's not sponsored, and there are some people who are better than him, but you have to go to competitions to find out who's better.
See, the reason why I brought up River's Edge Cutlery is that's a place that I used to work for, and they deal with a lot of local talents, and do like a commissary setup for them.
Yeah,
knife makers or people that make tactical lights or things like that. It'd be interesting to see if his services, if they're not already there, could be presented there.
That is interesting. I know he has made a knife in the past, but I don't think he dug into it. Like, see, that's his shirt right there. See that right there? Right there. See, that was designed by Affliction, Monsoon Monday. That was the
That's a sexy shirt.
That's cool, man. That's what a 30-year-old kid would want, right? Yep.
Nice, dude. That's cool, man. So you have very creative children.
I do. And my youngest, I mean, it's like, she's an interesting kid too, and she is musically talented I don't know how I can't explain that one. I mean, she is just so good and so honed in and so intelligent. She's been working with Lee Mamlin out of Upper Arlington for a few years now. 2-3 years now. I'm not sure how long we've been with Lee.
And when you say I don't know who that is, so what does that person do?
Lee is a music instructor.
Oh, okay.
And she's classically trained. Actually, I think she got her degree in biology, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong. Lee, if I'm wrong, please don't hate me. But I'm pretty sure she got her degree in biology before she went to like a music school. And she went to, it was a North Carolina school. My daughter was at a competition somewhere down there. But she's trained in classical music, and it is I'm going to get in trouble for this one. Shearer method, the Aaron Shearer method. And Aaron Shearer, strangely enough, loved classical guitar. He just loved classical guitar, and he taught himself classical guitar by watching. Now I'm going to try to remember the name that he learned his style from, but it was wrong. He mimicked it wrong, and he wound up injuring himself to the point where he couldn't play.
Oh.
Yeah, so he dedicated his life to teaching people how to play. And then he dedicated his life to teaching people the proper method to play, which is where the Shearer method came from. And it's widely acceptable method of classical guitar because it teaches you how not to hurt yourself. And we discovered this. We went to a competition, and this was a few years ago. Now, my daughter's 13, and she was 9 or 10 when we went to this competition in North Carolina. And we ran into Dr. Cami Rowan, who was an instructor and also a judge at that time. Not from my daughter's age group, but she was a judge at the competition that we were going to. And I saw her playing out front. You know, we were in the lobby of the hotel, and it was so cool. We were just me and my daughter traveling to North Carolina. It was just cool to do that. And it's like I got this young kid, and she's going to compete classical guitar. I mean, can you imagine? And I saw this younger lady just absolutely playing just beautiful music in the lobby of the hotel. And there's musicians everywhere, right? So I'm hearing just really beautiful music among beautiful musicians. Like everyone is good, and this lady is just completely standing out. And I'm just sort of taking. I'm on top of the balcony, and everything's open. I'm watching her play by the fireplace. I'm like, man, this is impressive. And after she got done playing, I introduced myself, and she said, "Are you here to play?" I said, "No, I'm not here to play. My daughter's here to play." And then we talked for a little bit. And she, "Oh, what age group?" I'm like, "Well, she's, I forget, like 8 or 9 years old. I don't even remember how old she was. I have to think about it. Ask Cece. She's here. My wife will know." And of course, the age of my daughter was 2 or 3 years under the youngest age group. It's like she wasn't even really old enough to be there. And she goes, "Oh, I would love to hear her play." And I was like, "Oh, sure." So, we kind of got my daughter, and we met up at the competition. She goes, I want to hear her play." So we sat down, and my daughter played for her, and she just sat down and played something. And this lady, Dr. Cami Rowan, just looked at her intently, and she goes, I can help you, but if you don't do something, she's going to cripple herself." It's like I'm like what? And then she gave me the name for Lee Mamlin, who was trained in the same method. And sure enough, we go there, and she's just doing everything wrong with her hand. And sure enough, and now this 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old, 9-year-old was practicing for 4 or 5 hours a day. Sometimes 4 or 5 hours a day. This little kid was just like crushing through it. Played every single day, at least an hour at that time. And it's like she's going to hurt herself. She's doing this wrong. And of course, Ash was having some hand pain in the left hand. Her right hand was perfect, but her left hand was perfect. Her right hand was one of those.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, I've been told I play with my left hand. I'm a right-handed guitar player, but yeah. I'm told I play with my left hand wrong. Mm-hmm. I was actually told at a show once. I played at some sort of golf resort or whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm playing wrong.
And because I'm self-taught. I'm as self-taught as it comes. Like I still have trouble with the names of the strings. Like I'm just so like out of the loop. But I was doing a set, and this lady comes up to me and says, "You're self-taught, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "I can tell because I can see your thumb."
Up here?
Yeah, because I keep my right. Like, okay. Oh, wow. Thanks. I was a music teacher for 40 years. Oh, that's amazing. You mind sitting down and let me perform the show? You said to give me a fucking lesson here on stage? That'd be great. Like I know I'm self-taught. You didn't teach me anything new. You just told me I'm doing it wrong, which I already knew. Thank you for your time. Sit down. I don't expect a tip. That's how I felt. Yeah, just like a middle finger. Yeah, I just felt that. Are you you're self-taught as well?
Yeah, I'm self-taught.
And
for the most part, I mean, it's hard to say that, but yeah, I guess I'm self-taught. But I have like my cousin has taught me stuff, and I had a teacher at one point, a couple teachers at one point, but it just didn't last very long. But for the most part, yeah, I just sort of played, and then of course, I learned stuff from my friends and various people.
You also mentioned that that your children were also artistic. Mm-hmm. So does your artistic side venture out more than just music into other areas of your life besides your mustache?
I do a lot of stuff. I mean, I was in culinary for 10 years, and I can decorate. I can like bake and decorate like really cool cakes, and
Really?
yeah, I can cook really, really well. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I can do. So, and then I sketch a little bit, but I'm not really a drawer or an artist like in the respect that like painters can claim, or like someone could really draw. It's like I can't really draw, but I can do like goofy cartoon characters that look kind of dumb. I do that kind of stuff. And then, but yeah, culinary is definitely an outlet of mine as well.
Me too.
So I noticed that. Yeah, you have some Facebook posts where you talked about it. I saw that your soup, the vegetable soup that you're making.
Oh, I mean that's soup. Yeah, I mean
soup is it's like that's like it's like if you got to be able to make soup if you're a cook. That's like a good soup. You know, it's hard to make too.
Right.
Like with good stock and
oh yeah,
no crappy vegetable stock. I don't want to hear it.
I also make a hot sauce. I make a habanero hot sauce that I sell.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a little side thing, but everybody I'd say 80% of the people that sell it are repeat or buy it are repeat customers. So
that's cool.
Yeah, and so you know John Garver, right?
Not by name though.
He's an open mic adventurer as well. He's always at open mics. I did a little contest because I started selling the sauce so much. I'm like, this sauce needs a fucking name. I was like, who can name it? We'll get a free bottle of sauce or whatever. And nobody came up with anything. They all came up with like, why don't you do a name that has to do with music? And I'm like, no, separate. My life's compartmentalized. You know, that has nothing to do with music. And I was sitting with John at the bar on an open mic one day. He goes, dude, I need s'more that sauce. I go, what? He's like, s'more that sauce. You know, he was doing
s'more that sauce.
He was doing his little slang on it, and I go, you know what, man? I kind of like that name. And I sat on it for a while. I'm like, s'more that sauce. It sounds weird. But goddamn, awesome. if the marketing doesn't sell itself, you know, hey, I need s'more that sauce.
Sounds
so
cool.
I named
s'more that sauce.
S'more that sauce.
That's awesome.
I have a little bit. I'll let you take some home with you.
All right. I want some, yeah.
Yeah, cool. You want some more of that?
I want some more of that sauce. I want some of that sauce.
So when you did culinary, was that something you did professionally or?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, like you said, you baked, you did cake designs and stuff like this. You worked for a company, or was this like a solo adventure?
Both. I mean, I started. I guess my first job was at McDonald's, really. But my
was
first
what?
McDonald's.
Okay.
My very first job, but my first culinary job, like the first like good restaurant. I mean, I worked at some big boy chains. I worked at Big Boy. I mean, I worked at McDonald's. I worked at Arby's in Pittsburgh. I mean, I had some. I worked at another. Not a fast, but a family type restaurant when I was living up there. But the first good restaurant I worked at was where I met my wife. Actually, was in Kansas. I lived in Kansas for a couple of years, 2-3 years, and I worked at a place called Gambucci's, which was a lot like Buca de Pepo's.
Okay,
it was a family style kind of restaurant. So that was the first one that I worked at, and I pretty much was into sort of Italian fine dining food after that. Bravo, worked at Bravo for a while. Then I worked at Da Vinci's for a while. I was a sous chef and made from scratch for a while. And then let's see. Then I went to. I think the last gig that I had was at the Limited. I was working at the cafeteria, and I went there because it was day shift, weekends off, and then I was starting a family at that point. And I didn't want to work nights and weekends anymore, so I took a job at that cafe, and it just really burnt me out. Restaurants. There's just no camaraderie, and a lot of people are out for themselves, and they're always just.
There's no camaraderie, but they pretend there is.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're sneaky people. A lot of them are, not all of them. There's some really great people, and you meet them, and when you meet them, you love them, and you keep them, close to your chest. And that's what happened to me. It's like I was on the other side of that.
Yeah, I straight out of high school, I did random shit, whatever, just trying to figure things out. And then I worked at a Quiznos, and managed to somehow get a management position at that place. It was ran by. It was a shit show. Like it was owned by somebody, but ran by somebody who said they owned it, but they didn't own it. and that guy ended up like burning down somebody's house and getting deported. He was from India. It was a fucking mess. And and then whatever, I went to Panera Bread after that, and worked my way up into assistant manager, and then Chipotle general manager, all these things, and then that's when I decided done. Like at this point, I was like 8 years in.
Done.
I was done because I was running a training store. You know, we had good numbers. It was actually the one in Hilliard. Mm-hmm. We were doing good numbers and all this stuff, and then these higher ups would come in. You know, your area managers and stuff, and these assholes were taking tape measures and measuring the size of the cut cut peppers, you know, for the fajitas. They're like, well, it's supposed to be 1/8 of an inch. This looks more like a 16th of an inch. And
I would have cut him 1/4 of an inch after that.
And I was like, what the fuck are you doing, man? I said, this is a woman cutting the peppers. She's not a fucking machine. You want some 1/8 peppers? Then buy a machine that cuts that way. But this is very consistent across the board. What are you doing? And then my mindset started changing about like corporate world and all these things. And so I kind of just left it all. You know, there's various other reasons, but I left it all and said I'll never work for a corporation again. You know, I'm done. And, you know, and that's when I found the little knife shop in Hilliard, the River's Edge Cutlery. That was my first job after that. I just sat there and sharpened knives, you know, all day. That's all I fucking did. And then I found Westminster Thurber Communities, downtown Columbus, 670 Neal. And they were hiring for a sous chef, which I had no experience in. But I applied for it because I don't know why. And they're like, well, we're not going to hire you as a sous chef. I'm like, I know, but what else you got? And they said, well, what's your cooking background? I told him just restaurants, all these things. And he looked at me and goes, well, and this was the head chef. He goes, well, I can teach you to cook. Can you run a kitchen? I said, yes, I can run a kitchen. And he goes, sold. Come on in. We'll bring you in a cook position. And I just built up from there. Then after a few years, I was writing menus, doing all the stuff, doing all the things, you know, and like just grew a major passion for it. And that's where my culinary background actually came from, was from that job, you know. So it was great. And then I haven't worked for a corporation since. I worked for myself doing music full time, and now I work for a smaller company locally. So, and I'm happy. I'm happy to have all these different experiences.
You know, they really are good experiences. I mean, I had some great experience running, you know, working kitchens and all that stuff. I did really enjoy it.
I still miss it.
Yeah. It's like, you know, I don't. Man, I guess there's aspects of it that I do miss.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, but it's like
there's a lot more that I don't miss.
There's a lot more that I don't miss.
Yeah.
This is some of my work right here. This is one of my daughter's birthday cakes, and that's mine.
Oh wow!
And if you scoot to the next picture, either left or right, I'm not sure which one it is. You'll see some of my collage. That's an old family recipe.
Yeah. Look at you. You and I should host like a food and music night together.
That'd be fun. That would be fun. That'd be a ton of fun.
Right. That would be like just like when you were describing earlier, you and your friends getting together and playing your own, you know, music in the round session.
Yeah.
You know, like
just a picker's night, man. It's
but like not at an establishment. You know, at a house that decided to host it for the evening.
Yep.
That'd be a good food and music night.
Yep.
It would. You know what? Since we're on the topic, I will. Bring this over here. I didn't bring that up.
Gotta use the bathroom real quick.
Oh yeah, go ahead. All right, so this is what I wanted to show you, and we're back on. We took a little pee break there. This is my Facebook food porn. This is where I keep all my food images, stuff that I do. that it kind of it's nowhere near as intricate as what you do with baking. But there's my Freddy Krueger cake that I made.
That's awesome.
You know, and here's some dishes that I pumped out at Westminster Thurber, and like some of these are originals. You know, this dessert dish here is such a creative adventure that we did.
That looks freaking awesome. See, that's way more intricate than what I showed you.
Well, dude, the thing is, all we did, like, we were trying to figure out dessert for the night. Because at this moment, like, I was in talks to be the sous chef. We didn't have a sous chef to run the kitchen.
You have some caramel, right? You got some caramel there.
Yeah, it's caramel and raspberry with vanilla ice cream, and we took.
What is that? What is that?
We took a pita bread and took a Chinese hat strainer.
Yeah.
And put it in a deep fryer.
No kid, that's fried pita.
Yeah.
Fried pita is actually really good. I didn't realize that till recently.
Yeah, so we just took that, put it in a Chinese hat, and put a scoop of vanilla ice cream with raspberry and caramel with some mint and powdered sugar, and it was a hit for the night. You know, that's how I roll, man. Like, I'm off the cuff of my heels. Here's some more little fun cake designs for Halloween for the residents at Westminster Thurber. You know, just little, again, nowhere near as intricate as yours, but, you know, just fun little shit. You know, and I love making food. I love designing food.
When you were cut from a similar cloth there, Stevie K.
Yeah. I can see this, you know, so I'm glad we found that relation. I've always wanted to do a food truck, I'll be honest with you.
You know, I've thought about that myself. Man, my wife got some food truck items. Now her egg rolls are unbelievable. You're not gonna have any egg roll like my wife's.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
never made an egg roll.
Oh, they're so good. They're so good. Her egg rolls, fried rice, crab rangoon. It's so good. It's like, so my wife is half Vietnamese, right? So she was born in Vietnam.
Oh yeah,
born there. And it's
really?
like, yeah, oh yeah. My grandmother was the firstborn of her family, and she's from Czech. So all of her older brothers and sisters from Czechoslovakia. So we have like all this ethnic food that we both brought to the table, and it's like, man, and she can cook all of it. She can cook all of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, it's totally awesome. We're foodies, man. We're all foodies.
Oh yeah, like this right here. This is such a simple thing. This is a fresh vegetable scrambled egg mix with. Well, hold up. The surprise is the sauce. So with avocado, you know, obviously shingled on top. This is a jam that I infused with my hot sauce. So it's
a store-bought jam.
I did not make the jam. Correct.
So what flavor jam?
It was prune.
What?
It was a prune jam.
Prune.
Yeah.
Prune.
Yeah. Prune.
He said prune.
Yes, prune. Yeah, it was a prune jam, and I infused it with a habanero sauce, with the habanero sauce that I do make myself. And I'll tell you what, that sweetness and that bitterness is it's magic. So, but yeah, whatever. I love food, and I didn't know that about you, or if I did, I didn't retain the information. So I'm glad we got to talk about it.
No, you wouldn't know about that. A lot of people don't know about that. I haven't actually really cooked seriously for a long time.
Neither have I. Now I cook for fun from the knowledge that I got from when I did cook seriously, and that's what makes it fun.
So when I do cook now, because I do the fun stuff, it's like I like making kolache. That's the second picture I showed you. Now that's an old Czechoslovakian recipe. Yeah. That's like strictly Czechoslovakian. That and pizza and barbecue, but I don't have the space for barbecue anymore. But I used to have the space for barbecue, but now I don't. But.
So, like, what's your process in doing pizza? Like in the
a 3-day rise.
Oh, really?
Yes. Like that's the best dough. The best dough is a 3-day, like a slow cold rise dough. So you mix the ingredients. There's not a whole lot of ingredients by, yeast, salt.
You strike me as somebody that would do an askew crust instead of doing the classic round. You just like kind of pull it in whatever shape it ends up being.
I do like traditional foods.
Oh, dude, you see, like the traditional round.
I like, yeah. It's like it's not. My pizzas are never perfectly round. They're kind of goofy sometimes, but it's never. I always try to go with round.
See, I like the goofiness.
Yeah,
I like
it comes off that way. Well, it's a hand stretch.
Places call it rustic.
Yeah. It's rustic. It's hand stretched.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. But the goal is to get it round. I mean, because it's an art, man. It's an art. You know what's funny? I didn't know any of this stuff when I was. I didn't know that I was going to be, like an artist when I was a kid. I didn't know that I was going to be a sous chef when I was a kid. I didn't know that I was going to be in the culinary for 10 years. I didn't know any of that stuff, but it was funny. But art class, my 7th or 8th grade year, everyone's making clay projects. I made a pizza. And my teacher's like, I've never had anybody make a pizza before.
That's amazing. I don't, obviously none of us know where we're gonna head, but like for me, I don't think I've ever told anybody about this before, but like when I was younger, I'd always come up with random shit at the house, like American cheese with lemon pepper on top of it. And like, Mom, you gotta try this. This is freaking amazing. And like, they're like, man, this is actually pretty good. It's such a simplistic thing, but like that was really like probably like the seed of like my interest in making food. That and the fact that my mom didn't cook very well.
Oh, really?
Oh, she was a microwave mom.
My mom can cook.
Oh, see, that's the thing. My mom couldn't, like, if it was homemade, that's because it said homemade on the box. Like that was the cooking we always grew up with. So like I think my culinary interest was always like a rebellion in a sense.
No, my mom makes cakes and she can bake and she makes candies and she can cook. There's a lot that she can do, and it's really, really funny that it's like growing up. It's like I used to do some of the candy making, like the cool stuff. Like she would take these molds, and she would melt some white chocolate and then she'd color the white chocolate, and then we'd take it and we'd color the molds and then we'd pour the dark chocolate in it. And it's like that's all I really remember doing was like the fun stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't really remember learning a whole lot about how baking process or decorating, but it turns out that I really did learn a lot. I just wasn't paying, didn't realize that I was learning so much. And it's like I remember how she used to decorate and use the tips and then move it.
Well, baking's a whole horse of a different color. That's almost like chemistry. And at certain points you have to be very specific about your ingredients when it comes to baking. And when sorry, I got distracted there. But it's almost like a chemistry. The thing I like about cooking in the kitchen is I'm a dash here, dash there type of guy, and just do things to taste and all this stuff. But baking, you can't really do that with. Baking is very specific.
Oh, absolutely. It's more of a science than cooking.
Yeah.
It is. It's challenging that way too.
It is, and I kind of like that challenge, but at the same time, I don't. When I worked at Westminster Thurber Communities, which if you don't know what that is, it's a very high-end retirement community, and it's many good kitchens, that lead from kind of a condo setting that go down to healthcare. Mm-hmm. So we had a wide variety of experiences, but I had the privilege of taking over the bakery section for a while.
Nice.
And they would always pre-order this stuff. Like they order it frozen and just fucking put it out there. And I said, we can do better. So I decided to dive into the baking world and learn how to make cakes and cheesecakes and, all these fresh pies. And like, we would make them in house. I was like, dude, we have 7 great kitchens. Why aren't we utilizing them? Why are we buying frozen shit? This doesn't make any sense. But that was my integrity, especially coming from Chipotle, which is all fresh, naturally or locally resourced, ingredients.
Chipotle is really?
Oh yeah,
I did not. I thought McDonald's owned them and they were just factory.
That was okay. See, I'm about to get Chipotle whore on you now.
Oh, shit.
Because McDonald's was a partner with Chipotle when they first started, but Chipotle, the guy who owns Chipotle, Steve, I can't remember his last name right now, is actually a student of CIA, the Culinary Institute of America. Yeah, and he started Chipotle as a cash cow for his fine dining restaurants, and so that's what he did. So when he started that,
Mike Patton.
he realized that he could actually take his culinary experience and implement it into this what was supposed to be a cash cow. And when he discovered he could do that, he actually ditched McDonald's. Like he's like, we're done here, and he started Food with Integrity, and so that's why all the beef, all the pork, is all responsibly raised meats. The beans and the produce are at least at the time I worked there. God, this is 12 years ago. 33% of the beans were grown organically just because of the supply and demand. But the goal was eventually to get to 100% organically grown produce. And we even went to the local farms where we would buy a lot of our produce, when the season was right, or a lot of climate controlled situations where they were micro growing their plants, like cilantro and things like this. Chipotle had a lot of really good Food with Integrity. Like it was, and they still do to this day.
That's awesome. Well, they're delicious as well.
Well, yeah, that's why that comes through. When I worked there, I actually was even we would go to global gourmet classes at high schools and actually teach them about the Food with Integrity. Like how these where these things are grown. What
you did that?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's what sparked my desire to actually have integrity with my food. That's why, like my hot sauce, everything is it's natural. I prefer natural ingredients, not to add any oils or anything like that. It's all just full flavor and just enhancing that. That's where my integrity comes from with food. That's why I like the rustic thing. There's something raw about being rustic.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's something. Yeah. There's something about an original diet. I think it's yeah.
Yeah. That's how I lost 100 pounds.
You've lost 100 pounds?
To be more honest, 90.
That is fantastic. What diet?
It's an incredible diet. It's called Stop Eating So Fucking Bad. That was it. I mean, ironically, I gained the most of my weight. I don't know if it's ironic or not, but when I was cooking, and I was also doing music.
You gained the most weight when you were cooking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when do you have time to eat? You don't. So like you take home all the rest of the fried fish, you take home all the stuff that was left over for the night, and that's what you eat. This kind of garbage thing if you're making fried foods, or I would overindulge, on mashed potatoes and whatever would just fill me for the evening. I would take that home. Plus I was also doing music as well at the time. So not only was I working the cooking hours, I was also doing music, and I ballooned up 350 pounds.
350. What do you weigh now?
About 350. I weigh, the last time I weighed myself, I weighed 262.
264.
Yeah, 4. Yeah. 262 or 264, whatever.
That's awesome.
And as I said, it was about 90 pounds. I've actually gained some weight since I lost that, but now I'm heading back in the right direction.
Well, so I'm curious. So what are you doing now?
For what?
I mean, to keep your diet in check.
That soup that you saw?
Yeah.
That's what I eat. I eat that soup that's just full of vegetables.
How often do you eat?
I don't eat in the morning. I try to do an intermittent fasting thing.
So you IF, that's cool.
Yeah, and then for lunch I was a vegetarian for years. Now I'm kind of going back into the turkey and chicken realm of it.
You need fat. You need protein.
Right.
Animal protein.
Well, there's two sides to that, but I did discover, as I said, I was a vegetarian for about 3 years. Mm-hmm. And then I felt myself being drab and so I actually I craved a piece of meat, so I ate a piece of chicken and I felt great. So again, I have integrity not just with food but also with my respect for animals. So I'm trying, just sorry birds, turkey and chicken it is, and also I brought shrimp back into the diet as well. But so like I'll eat I buy 35 calorie bread, and I use I make turkey sandwiches and an apple. That's what I eat for lunch. And when I get home, I'll eat turkey sandwiches and my homemade soup. I make a big old pot of it every week, and that's what I eat. And on the weekends when my son is here, I we'll buy pizza, and indulge. But yeah, that's what I do.
16/8 fasting is probably the best thing that I ever did. I mean that is because the thing about it is, it doesn't matter what you eat. It matters when you eat it. So it restricts your diet to an 8-hour time frame, and in that 8-hour time frame is when you do your eating, and outside of that, you're giving your digestive system a break.
Yeah.
And that is really where it's at. And it doesn't restrict you to what you can eat. So if your body needs it, you can give your body to it. So you can eat a chocolate bar, you can eat a steak, you can eat vegetables.
Yeah.
And then it lends to healthy fats and rich greens.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, I stay away from processed stuff. As I said, I'll indulge in a pizza every now and again.
I eat them all the time.
But like I don't do fast foods. I stay away from them. Now, this is where I gained the weight back, or not back. When I gained like 12 pounds back from when I lost 90, was working for the company that I do now. It's so easy to stop at Taco Bell and spend $3.
I know.
And get a bean burrito. And I kind of got caught up in that for a while, and then so I just kind of stored that. Yeah, and then I caught myself, put a stop to it. You can look at my fridge now. My lunch is set for tomorrow. It's just a little enough to make a turkey sandwich. Yeah, that's all I need. So I'm going to look up a little something here for you. So bear with me while I try to find it. For anybody listening, I'll give you a topic to discuss while I try to find this thing I'm trying to find. Pamela Anderson's breast, true or false? Discuss. Oh, boy. I'm probably not going to find it anytime soon. I might just give up on this.
You smoke a pipe?
No. Not for pipe tobacco. I sure don't. So yeah, there's that. But I love pipes. That pipe is something I found at an antique store. It broke, hence the electrical tape around it. But I can't find this picture, so I'm about to give up on it. Well, I'll just show you afterwards because I'm tired of looking for it. But no, my father or my dad rather gave me. He gave me a pipe that belonged to his father, and I just loved it so much. And I never got into actually smoking pipes, but when I received it, I did smoke out of it quite a bit, and I ended up losing that somehow in a move or in the separation of my ex-wife and I. So I found this one at an antique store and utilize it the same. I smoke out of it, but I don't smoke pipe tobacco. So
it's nice pipe.
Yeah, it broke, which sucks. So I had to wrap it around. But having this stand on it is something I've never seen before, and it came with the stand. So yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I like them. I like that old timey thing. I kind of have an old soul, I think, when it comes to stuff like that. But yep. All right. How do you feel, man?
I feel pretty good.
I feel pretty good. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we end this?
No. You know what? No. I think I'm gonna head back to the house here soon. So I appreciate you having me, man.
Well,
I really do. This has been it's been an experience.
Well, it's been a learning experience because again, you and I don't know each other very well.
No.
I think we learned a lot.
First good talk I think we've ever had.
Yeah, so I think people were get a little window into that introduction. So Aaron, thank you so much for coming into the studio. I had a good time.
All right, Stevie, I appreciate it.
Yeah, until next time.
Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah. I'll have any links that Aaron wants me to share in about him, where you can find maybe his music or some whatever other details in the link below. So, all right, thank you guys. Talk to you later.